The Church Fathers, Uncertain Guides in the Matter of Free Will. As for the Fathers of the Christian Church, although they all understood that reason has been gravely stricken in man by sin, and that will is subject to very many appetites, most, nevertheless, followed the philosophers more than was necessary. I believe there were two reasons which led the early fathers to do this. They were afraid, first, that if they denied man all freedom to do good, the philosophers would ridicule their teaching. And second, that the flesh, which is only too inclined to carelessness, would seize the opportunity to despise good works. Hence, reluctant to say anything which might run counter to prevailing opinion, they sought to make the teaching of Scripture half agree with that of the philosophers. However that be, it is clear from their remarks that they were mainly concerned with the second point. In one place, Chrysostom writes, God has placed the capacity for good and evil within us, giving us free will to choose either. He does not impel us by force, but welcomes us if we come willingly to him. Again, the wicked man can become good if he chooses, and the good man may change into a wicked one. For God has endowed our nature with free will and does not compel us. Instead, he recommends the remedies which we may use if we please. Again, as we can do nothing good without the help of God's grace, so also if we bring nothing of our own, his grace will not assist us. He had earlier said that not everything depends on God's help, but that we have our contribution to make. This kind of statement is in fact frequently found in him. Let us bring what is ours, and God will supply the rest. Jerome is of the same opinion, saying, it is for us to begin and for God to finish. Our task is to offer what we can, his is to accomplish what we cannot. We see from these statements that the fathers credited man with greater power than was proper, since they thought the only way to rouse us from our lethargy was to insist that it depends entirely on us whether we live a good life. We will consider later the question of whether they were justified in acting this way. To be frank, however, it will be obvious that these words of theirs, which we have cited, are quite false. Although the Greek fathers above all, and foremost among them Chrysostom, exalt man's powers beyond reason, almost all the early fathers, with the exception of Augustine, are quite inconsistent in the matter, or are so vague and uncertain in what they say that no convincing solution emerges from their works. For this reason, we will not stop to discuss individual opinions, but will, incidentally, and as our argument requires, refer to statements that various writers have made. As for those who came after the fathers, they all sought to impress by a display of cleverness, but in defending men's powers they went from bad to worse, until they induced everyone to think that man was corrupt only in his sensual nature, that his reason was otherwise intact, and that his will was in large part free.